Hi, everyone. Welcome to Spirit Rescue Talk. I'm Amy Major. I have a wonderful guest today, Michelle Pellin today, and I just want to introduce you to her to let you know who she is, why she's here, and how spectacular this interview is going to be. I do have a few things written down. She is a licensed professional counselor. Oh my God, how wonderful is that? She's also a ghost worker, and I really wanted to be able to talk about that term a little bit because, you know, a lot of us use the term rescue medium. She uses the term ghost worker. And I know a lot of people that also use the term crossover medium or ghost medium or soul medium. So there's a lot of different terms that kind of confuse a lot of people, but hey, we all have different terms and we're all trying to kind of keep it together and be able to share our experiences with each other, and having another term to be able to expand our awareness in this type of field is amazing. And I'm so excited about it. She's also an animist witch, which I really, really want her to talk about because I've never really heard of this term before. And I'm sure some of you haven't either. So I'm really excited to talk about this with her. She's also a psychic medium, of course, and a Reiki master, which I absolutely adore. And she does tarot card readings as well. So I want to introduce Michelle Pellin. Hi, Michelle. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm so excited to have you on today.
I'm happy to be here.
Yes, and I think we have so much to talk about today, and I think there are so many things that we can be discussing. But can you tell me a little bit about the Envis Witch? Because when you explained that, I was like, what? What is this? And I know you said that you're still working on the training of that. Can you give us just a little general view of what this is?
So an animist witch is somebody who believes that there's a spirit in everything. And here's the funny part, as you were talking about it, I thought I need to interject this. I actually made the connection when I was at a ghost job with animism, because I'm being trained by a wonderful witch in Vermont. And I couldn't understand, like, how is there a spirit in this pen? I don't, that didn't click for me, right? So I'm at a ghost job, and we were feeling the energy because the people were saying every time we get in the middle of the steps, we trip. And it was bizarre. Like, what do you mean you do? Yes, every time we get to a certain step, we trip. And it happened to be the 10th step. And so I'm sitting on this step, and in my head, I'm going, how am I going to help these people? I don't understand, it's a step. And so then it finally clicked for me. They're wooden steps. Wood used to be a tree. There you go. I work with trees all the time. I can work with this step. And that's exactly what I did. I worked with the step, with the energy. So an animist witch is somebody who works with energy and spirit. And this pen does have a spirit because it used to be in the ground. It was petroleum at one time. So if you really think about it, everything has been in nature some way, somehow. So you can work with it.
That makes perfect sense now, to kind of see everything as an expanded entity form of its original form. So you're taking something like a tree, and then you're also having like a desk or a pencil, or something that you're using to build a house with. The spirit of the tree goes into all the wood, and then all of that spirit in the wood now goes and creates a new energy source connected to all the other entities of the metal, of the wool or cotton, all these things kind of combining. Do you find that maybe there are some energies that don't like to be together, that are from the earth, or do they all kind of work really well?
I haven't had that experience. That's a good question. That hasn't come up for me. I think they all work together.
Because I know with certain crystals, I'll have some crystals sitting next to each other, and I can literally feel them arguing with each other. Like,
oh my goodness,
like that energy. I don't like that energy. And you're like, seriously, guys, get along. But they just won't. they have their own personalities and their own vibrational frequencies. So I kind of find like, okay, if crystals do that, what about all the other elements?
I don't know. That hasn't come up for me yet, but I'm going to definitely pay attention.
Oh, definitely. Because, my curious mind is kind of like, well, what if? I probably asked way too many questions, but I think that we would love so much for you to talk a little bit about your ghost work and what kind of led you into this work. Because as we know, this is Spirit Rescue Talk. We love being able to talk about the field of rescue mediumship, spirit rescue, energy clearing work, attachment removal, giving people a little bit of a background,
Mhm.
history, and maybe some stories to give them some examples of the type of work we do and how we help these spirits. So, can you tell us a little bit about your ghost work and how you got involved with that?
Sure. I've always been interested in ghosts. When I was a little girl, I remember taking a trip to Salem, Massachusetts, and I just was enamored. I was hooked. I had to be a witch. I had to be Casper. It was so exciting for me. And I played around with Ouija boards and I played around with tarot cards, yada yada yada. Did the whole thing. Even had my senior thesis in high school on poltergeist. So I was fascinated, very excited. Then college came, marriage came, children came. Everything kind of put the brakes on ghost work for a while.
Mm.
And I had my awakening in 2018 when I was led by spirit to a holistic healing center. And that was fantastic, exciting, as many of you probably are having an awakening now. Very exciting time, but scary time. And that led to becoming the Reiki master. And then I met this man named Paul Rice. I think it was 2019. And my girlfriend said, "You have to meet this man. He's fantastic. And I know you love ghosts and, go talk to him." So he was doing a class on teaching how to do ghost work. And I immediately clicked with him. And it's been a relationship ever since. I went through, I think it was a 12-week class that we had to do to learn, number one, first and foremost, how to protect ourselves, how to protect our energy. And he says he makes people psychic. I'm not sure about that. I think what he did was he developed what was already there.
Mhm.
Because every one of us in that room, and I think there's about 6 of us that went to the class, was gifted. It's just that we didn't know how to hone into those gifts.
Right.
And so he really led me and showed me that I can do this. I can be psychic. I can tap into, the mediumship world too. And so learning that was just so exciting. I remember going to my first cemetery. That's where we usually do a lot of practicing. And tapping into my first ghost was a woman that was caretaking the cemetery. She was like a school marm kind of an energy, very Irish. And what are you doing here? And I'm here to protect everybody else. And you'll often find that most of the time in a cemetery, there'll be a spirit that is in charge. And so I tapped into her first, and that was very exciting. And we all tapped into spirit that day. So that was a fond memory. But from there, it moved to housework. So I've been to many, many houses and had lots of great experiences. I think people get in their head that when you go to a haunted house, it's going to be like the movies, right? It's going to be lots of banging and crashing, and there's going to be blood on the walls, and it's it's really not. Now, I'm not saying there isn't some banging and crashing sometimes. What I find is on my way to the job, there's a feeling, a sense that they know we're coming. The spirits I'm talking about know we're coming. And so they're kind of on their best behavior when we get there. They're not doing, the family will say, "Wow, there's been, this noise and this crash and the people slamming doors and sinks turning on and off." And of course, none of that usually happens. The
Equivalent
closest,
to going to the doctor. You have all
yeah.
the when you're in the
Or
doctor.
you go to the mechanic and the car's broken and, "Oh no, everything's fine. What are you talking about?"
Yeah, it happens.
So they're on their best behavior when we get there, but there definitely is a sense of yeah, there's definitely something going on in this house. And usually I can pick up on them the drive-in, shortly on the drive-in. One of the jobs we did was a nursery school, and it used to be a rectory. And the energy in that place was crazy. They were reporting that sinks were turning on and off, toilets were flushing for no reason. One time, one of the teachers got locked in the staff bathroom by one of the spirits. And just a really sense of dread. A lot of the children were going home sick to their stomachs for no apparent reason. And we got there, and there was, gosh, that was a big day. There was probably 8 or 9 of us. We just took one ghost at a time. There was several of them in there, and reasoned with them. What we usually do is after we put protection, and I'm sure, Amy, you stressed the importance of protection too before you go into any job. The next step is to talk to the spirits and say, hey, what's going on? What are you doing? And for them, there were all different reasons, right? Some of them were saying they were confused or lost. Some of them were saying, oh, I'm dead. I didn't know I was dead. Some of them were saying that we had a priest that was in there, and he was like, nope, this is my job. I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be guiding these children to do XYZ. He thought he was still in Sunday school, I guess, or catechism. And, these were nursery school children. So we had to move him on. So there's a lot of different reasons. It feels like you're a ghost therapist, which is why me being a therapist comes in handy, because I can talk to them on a level that they can be heard. Most of them just want to be validated. And I tell people all the time that ghosts are just people without a body. That's really what they are. I mean, if we're putting aside, animated energies and thought forms and all that stuff, real true ghosts are just people without a body. So you need to sit and reason with them. Sometimes that's quick and easy. Oh yeah, I've been wanting to get out of here. Show me the light. 2 seconds later, poof. And then sometimes it takes a while to reason with people. Sometimes you have to call in loved ones that they miss. Sometimes I found this one trick. I had this happen last week, as a matter of fact. I said, well, wouldn't you want to go back with your family member? And he said, well, I don't want to go back with my family. They're terrible. So I ended up calling in his dog, an Irish setter, and that did the trick. You have to find what works. Sometimes it's calling in deities. I work directly with Blessed Mother and Archangel Michael, and they will come in and swoop. And that usually works really well when nothing else works.
I know when you're going on these locations, what type of other specialists go with you? Because I know you're doing a lot of mediumship work. Are there any other specialists there helping you with the job?
They're all mediums too, but they all have different abilities. So I am clairvoyant, I'm clairaudient, clairsentient, claircognizant. My mentor, who's been doing this off and on since he was 17, he's 65 now. He is more clairsentient. Like, clairsentient is his number one ability. And he will often say, well, I know you're telling me, Michelle, you can see blah, 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 but I can't see it. He can actually feel the energy, but he feels more intensely than I do. I can feel it, but he like, because he doesn't have the other things, he can up his game with the clairsentience. And he often kind of refers to it as stumbling around in the dark sometimes. But he's fantastic. He can pull in that energy way better than I can. So we all have our strengths. Some people are more psychic than me. There's a gentleman that works with us that is more clairaudient than I am. He'll hear them, in a second. Oh yeah, all right, come on, let's go. We'll draw them in and talk to them and organize them quickly. So it depends. Everybody has their specialties.
And it's really wonderful to be able to work together with the team, which is a little different than psychic mediumship, as you know, that most mediums work independently, even in a gallery where they're usually performing in front of an audience, connecting to spirit. Rescue work or ghost work is very different, where we usually work together as a team and play off of each other's abilities to be able to form the full story, and to know that we're all there for the benefit of the spirit, not for our benefit, but to be there to actually become healers. So it is more of a group effort sometimes for us to do this work.
Absolutely. And we have to not only heal, well, first, foremost, the spirits, healing the spirits, and then we heal the house. A lot of times the house has portals that are open, or sometimes it has stuck energy in it, or sometimes it's a more like a thick fog, like, what's going on here with the energy? Have you never opened a window kind of feeling? So we have to heal the house. And then once we're done doing that, the final step is to heal the humans in the house. That's where we come up with the energy work. I mean, me being a Reiki master, I'll usually use my Reiki skills, but there's also different techniques for energy healing, and it's about scanning the aura to see if there's any holes or places where it feels kind of funky, and we'll heal the people too. That's super important, because these people may have been living in the house for years and not had any energy work or done anything on themselves. So they need to also be healed too.
Well, I also find that people's energy, their projection of their energy actually plays a big part in the haunting of the house, because there may be a spirit there, but there may also be other contributing factors such as stress or abuse or trauma in the home that's feeding the intention of a lower frequency in the house. So if you can clear the spirit, but also clear all the pain, the suffering, all the lower frequency energy, they're less there's a less of a chance of bringing spirits back into the house, because so many people ask, like, well, if you get rid of the spirit, who's to say another spirit isn't going to come right back in? How can we protect against new spirits coming in? So can you explain a little bit about how you help these individuals that have the haunting to understand how to protect themselves going forward?
Right. So to back up a bit on and expand on your point, I find teenagers to be the number one people that, because they're so adolescent, all over the place, scattered energy, spirits usually, they love it, right? They love to feed off that energy. So anytime we have a house, 9 times out of 10, not always, but there's a teenager or teenagers. We did a house in Wallingford, Connecticut that was a former KKK meeting house, and there were several teenagers in that house. and the energies were feeding off of them, literally, draining their supplies. How to protect themselves going forward, we will teach them. I'll often teach my clients this too in the secular world. Pretend that there's a bubble around you, an energy bubble, and you could cover that bubble with any color energy you want. If purple is powerful to you, make it a purple bubble or make it a white bubble. And then if you feel threatened, you can put electricity around that bubble. You could put lightning around that bubble, fire around that bubble. Anything that makes you feel powerful and strong, you can definitely do that. Another thing that works well for people that are more Christian based, and that want that power of the angels on their side, you could say angels on the top, angels on the bottom, angels in the front, angels in the back, angels to my left, angels to my right. That's another thing you could do. You could call in Michael with his sword to slash what you need slashed. There's a whole bunch of things. You could take black tourmaline and put it around the doors. You could wear it. So there's multitude of ways that you could protect yourself from that energy. I mean, hopefully we've moved on those spirits. And by the way, our policy is we come back as many times as it takes.
Mhm.
The only thing we charge for is gas, because gas is expensive. And we're going all over the state, you know, sometimes an hour and a half away. And if it takes 3, 4, 5 times to make sure they've moved on, we'll do that. Sometimes spirits are harmless and they want to hang out, and that's okay. I mean, that's where my mentor and I kind of clash heads. He will say, well, the spirits, they need to feed off the energy. So they really need to move on and go forward. And I say, well, if they're not causing any harm and the family likes them being in their house, I don't have a problem with that. So I had one job that I went to, and it was there was a definitely a challenging spirit upstairs. But we also found that one of the deceased that just died a few months before was the grandfather, was in the house protecting the grandson. And they had a video of one of those toddler cars, the door not opening. You would think it would be opening because of gravity, but shutting. The grandfather was shutting the door, you know, like so the kid wouldn't trip on it, I guess. So there are spirits sometimes in the homes that should be left alone. I mean, yes, you want to tell them you're not stuck here. You can go back and forth. Please don't feel like you're a prisoner. You know, don't feel like you're bound here. The family is safer now. But I don't feel like it's our job to move grandpa on if the family feels safer with grandpa being there.
Well, I think that it's a wonderful idea to help the spirit transition, not for the family's benefit, but for the spirit's benefit, because they're missing out on a lot of their own soul's development, their own spiritual journey, and reminding them that they can come back to the house anytime they wish after they transitioned into the light.
Right.
Being in an earthbound status holds them in a placement of lower frequency where they're not able to receive the healing, love, and support that they need. We have to remember that we can't force a spirit to cross over, right?
Right.
We can't
Right.
force any spirits into the light that aren't ready to go. So of course we're going to entice them. We're going to be like, please continue, try to move on. We're going to like be eager for that, but we can't ever force them to do it. The only time we can force them to move out of the house is when they're harassing the
Oh,
home, when
absolutely.
they're being harmful in some way. And that's when we transition from being rescuers to helping the spirit to being protectors of the people that are still here in the physical world. Have you ever experienced a scenario where there was a harassing spirit? And if so, what did you do to be able to get rid of them?
A harassing spirit. I guess that would depend on the situation as to what would harassing be. I mean, we've had spirits, again, you know, make noises and so forth. We've had spirits scare people, or especially teenagers in the middle of the night, freak them out. I had one spirit at a job. He showed me a knife. He wasn't holding it, you know, like this in front of my throat or anything. He was holding it up. So it was more like a warning, like, get away from me, you know. So you could say that that was harassing, or you could say that he was trying to protect himself from me
Yeah,
because
just
he didn't,
protection.
yeah, he didn't want to move on. Again, that's where my therapy skills came in handy. I can't think of anything specifically that was harassing on purpose, if that makes sense. I mean, I
Right.
can think of another job we had where there was a huge portal, if you will, in their kitchen. And the family would probably say, yeah, they're harassing us because they're coming down the stairs, and it's like Harry Potter, 9 3/4. These people are just coming in and out like it was crazy, really.
Mhm.
So their definition could have been harassing, but to us it was fascinating that there was this portal in the middle of their kitchen. So yeah,
I
so
think
so
it's
so
important for that.
sure, there was some incidences of that.
And I think that's the one thing that we're trying to do about educating the general public about the difference between being afraid and actually feeling threatened. Because
Right.
it's a very big difference for us here in rescue work, because for the greater percentage, most people are just afraid of the unknown, afraid of what they don't understand, afraid of a darker energy, a lower vibration. It provokes fear from a lot of people that aren't experienced in this field. But then there are those that have spirits that actually try to harm and threaten individuals here in the physical world, which is when we come in and start to become security for them. So it's really great that you haven't experienced those really harassing ghosts so far. Most of my experience has been in that, unfortunately. And my guides are like, yep, you're doing it whether you like it or not. And
I
I'm like,
have
okay.
had I have had thought forms, or animated energies follow me home. I
Mhm.
had that happen a couple of years ago, in the house that I was telling you about. That was the former KKK meeting house, and it was probably because we were exhausted. We were there 3 hours, and it was like 9:30 at night, and we were very tired. And it was the last one we were trying to get to, and we were sloppy. And so I was on my way home, and I said, "Oh, like there's somebody in this car." I just know it. And a couple of days before, I had watched a podcast of a medium that was talking about tuning into George Michael. And I said, "Oh, isn't that cool? I really like George Michael." And then and all of a sudden, there are no coincidences. On the radio comes the song Freedom by George Michael. And I hear loud and clear in my head from my guides, sing, sing. So that's how I raised my vibration. There's several ways to do that. Right. And I'm not a good singer, so thank God nobody else heard me, but I sang Freedom really, really loud. And that's how the spirit did not come home with me, because my rule is I don't pull down my driveway until I've gotten rid of it. It doesn't matter how long it's taken. That's happened a couple of times.
And can you explain to those who are watching, why is it so important to be able to make sure you protect your home and create boundaries in that general view, why you're not allowing the spirits in your home?
I don't want animated energies in my home, because they're probably suck my energy. They're gonna suck my family's energy. They're gonna drain it, and it's not going to be a safe, comfortable environment anymore. So yeah, I'm not bringing that into my home.
Oh,
Um, I don't like the word demons. I know some people use that word. Um, I think there's just low level frequency spirits that you really can't reason with them. They just need to go back to where they came from. So yeah, that's what I'm talking about, not human spirits.
right. And a lot of people need to realize that when there is a spirit that comes into your particular home, they're setting an imprint. They're
Hmm.
creating an intention in your home that's now not only allowing them to stay, but they've become a beacon for other spirits to find that vibrational frequency, and like energy attracts like energy. So now you're
Sure.
going to have a full party of spirit energy. And especially if you're a medium, you're just sending signals out to say, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you. You can be overwhelmed. So it's really important to be able to safeguard your home. It should be your sacred space. I call it the no fly zone in my home. They're not allowed to come
Great
in.
idea. Yeah. And you can use that beacon skill in a positive way.
Yeah.
Oftentimes we'll be in a cemetery and we'll put our beacon out, our light out, like on purpose to attract lost or unsettled spirits to come to the light, and we'll send them up in groups. It's in our ghost workers group, it's called Michael's technique, because one of our members, his name is Michael, and he created it. We'll basically send out our light, and this could be, you know, up to 200 spirits at a time, because who's got time to send each individual spirit up? And then we'll have them relax, and then we'll send their guides in, and the guides help bring them up. So that can come in really handy when you're pressed for time and there's lots and lots and lots and lots of them all at once.
Now, a lot of people ask me, and I've explained it through my perspective and my point of view, but I'll ask you the same question to see what your belief is. But a lot of people have asked me, okay, so you're bringing in their guides. Why can't these souls see their guides themselves? If the guides are always there, what's inhibiting them from being able to connect to their guides, and the guides just transition them into the light? Why are you needed?
I think it's the same answer as us as humans. I wasn't in tune with my guides until about 4 years ago, because I wasn't noticing them. I wasn't taking the time to meditate. I wasn't taking the time to cleanse. I wasn't trying to tune into my clairs, right? So if you're busy with your life, if you're busy doing things, I mean, these spirits are set on they're it's almost like they're in a tunnel, right? Oh, I'm dead, and I'm stuck and I can't get out. You're even in death, your thoughts dictate where you're going to be in a lot of ways, just like humans. Humans, our thoughts dictate how we're going to be in life. Oh, well, I can't get a better job, and I can't move out of my house because I can't afford it. All that stuff plays into that. And so with spirits, it's the same thing. Oh, I'm stuck, I'm dead, nobody's going to come rescue me. So they kind of put up a block. And so the spirit guides are trying to help them, but they're not paying attention to it. So it's us that, you know, helps them see their spirit guides.
Perfect. I like to call it tunnel vision.
Yes.
A lot of these spirits are only focusing on either their trauma or their situation, and what actually gets projected out around them is an illustration of their thoughts and their emotions. It like encases them in an alternate reality based on what they're focusing on. So
Right.
they're not able to see through that or past it to be able to know there's a spirit guide standing by, or an angel standing by, or the family going, we're here, we want to be able to help you. They're just not able to see it. We like just here in the physical world, we're not always aware of everything around us. You know, many times we're like, oh, if it was a snake, it would have bitten me. You know, people aren't aware of what is around them. So the
Right.
spirit world isn't any different. Just because they're both spirit doesn't mean that they're seeing each other the way that we see each other.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
it's important
Absolutely.
to let people understand that we are the mediators
Mm-hmm.
between earthbound
Right.
and spirit guides. And we're the
Right.
ones that are connecting those two focal points together, because
Right.
we're both.
Right. And if people are convinced that another reason people don't move on is, oh, I'm going to hell, I'm going to just stay right here.
Mhm.
If they're convinced of that, then how do you talk them into seeing their spirit guides? Like, so it's that fear. You have to say to them, you know, the light is beautiful. There's no hell. It's okay, you know. So you have to reason with them and get them to relax. And we'll often use color energy
Mhm.
to get them to feel better. A lot of times, if they died, let's say, from a traumatic event and their bones are crushed, we might use yellow for bone energy healing. Or if there was something with their lungs, we might use blue energy, or their blood, we might use red energy. My go-to usually, because I'm a mental health therapist, is I put out purple energy for mental health problems, and then pink energy for love. And that can really, really help, because then you can actually talk to them and reason with them. If they're in a state of, yeah, go away, then it's going to be hard for you to get there. The other thing that I encounter a lot, and Amy, I would love to know if you encounter this too, a lot of the older spirits, I'm talking about like from the 20th century on, before, if they're men, oh yeah, no, I don't want to talk to you, you're a woman. I can't tell you how many times that's happened. Sometimes I can work through it, and sometimes I have to get one of my male counterparts to say, could you please talk to this guy? I actually have had two spirits that were men that were inappropriate with me. They didn't want to move on. They wanted to have fun. So
Very, very common.
that's when I bow out and say, yep, nope, not doing this today. Mm-mm.
Yeah, they don't see women as an authority,
Right.
especially when you're trying to help them. I come across it so many times where I've had spirits like, look at me. And believe it or not, it's with different cultures, not necessarily American, but other cultures. And they'll look at me like, oh, how dare you talk to me? You're a woman. And I just like, look, we don't play that game here. I'm here to help you. But the
Right.
funny thing is recently, since I've become a minister, I will inform the spirit that I'm a minister, and like, it's almost like, a woman? A
Oh,
minister? They were
interesting.
not, some do not like it. So I will be a mediator and bring a minister or a priest from the spirit world in.
Ah,
That
okay.
will help them say, okay, you don't trust me, you can listen to them. I don't take it personally anymore because I
Right.
want people to value and respect my beliefs. I'm going to value and respect other beliefs
Hmm.
as well. It's just a moral thing to do. It's a kind thing to do. And I think kindness really should be expressed a little bit more in this world, and we be able to support each other a little bit more. Stop fighting because you have a different point of view.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. And I always find it fascinating that that no matter what language they understood here, I can hear them in my mind in English. I just love that there's no boundaries in the spirit world like that. There are still boundaries because they've instilled those boundaries. For example, the male female thing,
Right.
but in reality, there is no boundaries if they allow that to happen, if that makes sense.
So I know we talked about earlier about you finding the rescue mediumship page. How did that go
Oh,
about? You found
right.
mediumships.
So I was doing it, I guess, about a year in Connecticut, and I said one day to myself, there's gotta be other people, because I didn't know anybody else outside the small little group we have, which is called Spirit Healers of New England, by the way, which is on Facebook and Instagram. And so I was like, there's got to be other people. So I think I Googled you and found your book, and it was fantastic. And I watched a podcast that you had done on YouTube. I can't remember who it was, but you had did this fabulous talk with somebody, and I said, oh my gosh, I want to get to know her. And then I found your Facebook page. So that was a couple of years ago. So I was so excited to know that there were other people. Unfortunately, I haven't really found out beyond that who else. There's got to be more in the country and the world. There has to be.
There are, but believe it or not, a lot of them are in hiding, or a lot
Uh-huh.
of them are in denial because they don't want to be judged. It's so difficult that you wouldn't think spiritual people would judge other spiritual people,
Oh no,
but
they
it
do.
happens all the time. And rescue work is something that's been sort of pushed in the corner and said, oh, we don't talk about that.
Mm.
we don't believe in that. And so it's sort of been the black sheep of the spiritual family, in a so to speak, because doing this type of work has always been seen very dark, mysterious, and
Mm,
scary, when we're trying to actually educate the general public about how healing this is, how enlightened this is, and how spiritual and loving this type of work is. Yes, we do come across very low level entities and spirits, but we're here to protect. We're not here to like, oh, let's just go mess with some dark spirits. We're not doing
yeah,
that. We're here to protect those against them. And we're also here to help heal the spirits that are ready to be healed and ready to transition. So I think
right.
rescue work is growing exponentially in the world. When I started 25 years ago, no one, no one talked about this type of work. And you can only imagine how lost I felt at that point, and trying
Mm,
to Google as much as I could about this type of work. And you would hear it every now and then from different parts all over the world. But, especially going to the spiritualist churches, they get out the pitchforks. We're not talking about that. And it was so difficult to really get started. But I think as we discuss this more, we talk about it with each other, more and more people are going to feel comfortable coming out of that spiritual closet and saying, I do this too. I
right. And I went to a Connecticut Paracon convention last year, and my mentor was very hesitant to do anything like that because him and I truly believe that people that just hunt, it's cruel, it's not nice. If you're just going there to poke fun and have recordings and pretty much exploit spirit, then you're not that type of person for me, right? But when we went there, my friend and I, yes, there were some people like that there, but there were also people that were doing rescue mediumship behind the scenes. They were calling themselves ghost hunters, but they actually were working with mediums on the team that were doing this kind of work. So I think you're right. I think it is more covert than overt. So there are people out there that are doing it. It's just they don't say they're doing it.
And wouldn't it be great to get rid of that term ghost hunting?
I hate it. I can't tell you, I must have corrected hundreds of people by now. No, I am not a ghost hunter. I am a ghost worker. There is a difference. I help them to the light. There's nothing more exciting to me than a family that says to me, we slept last night. For the first time in years, we actually got a good night's sleep.
Right.
I'll never forget, we went to a house and there was a 3-year-old and she was wildly open. And she saw all the ghosts. She saw the whole thing. And she was talking about the spirits going up and down the stairs and the train station that I had mentioned earlier. And she had called them the Blinkies. Isn't that cute?
Oh, nice.
And so when we were done with our work, I said to the mom, I want you to please take her around, not with me. I want you to go, because she was in the other room during the whole thing. So I said, I want you to go solo with her. And I want you to see if she feels these blinkies anymore. And without us there, she said, Mommy, I don't feel the blinkies anymore. Like, if that's not rewarding, I don't know what is.
Right. For me, the most rewarding is helping children or
Yes.
victims into the light, helping children here feel a little safer, a less, invasive. Where, there's a lot of children out there they go to bed at night and they feel like that spirit stepping at their bed or watching them from the corner of their
Right.
room. And a lot of these children don't feel like they're being heard, or their parents
Absolutely.
don't understand. And so I think having resources such as rescue mediums to be able to go in and educate the family on how to not only clear the home, protect the home, and help the developing child learn how to protect themselves. I think we need to
Right.
have more resources for children with intuitive and mediumship abilities, to be able to understand how to protect, control, and enhance their abilities going forward. And I've been told I may open up a school in the future for children, which I'm really, really excited about. And
Yay.
I just nothing serves me more than helping children. I've got 4 children myself, so I'm all about kids. Come on, let's play.
And yeah, and helping the children in the spirit world too to move forward is also very satisfying. And I find them the easiest to move on because they're so trusting and loving. Oh, an adult, cool. Usually there's a spirit that is helping them and watching them.
Right.
But yeah, usually they're very open. So I rarely have a problem with a child moving on.
It's hard for people to hear that children can be earthbound, but we need to remind people these children are never alone in the spirit world. They have their
Right,
guides, their angels, their family standing by. It's the fear of the child that restricts them from moving into the light. It's the running
right,
away from the unknown and that unknown situation that keeps them. They want to go back to mom. They want to go back to their life. But it does happen. It's random. It doesn't happen all the time.
right.
And I don't like it to happen to children. So they're my first go-to. Whenever
Mhm,
I know that there's somebody earthbound, 2 things I always ask, is it a child and is it a victim? Those are the
mm.
2 that I feel need to transition right away. If it's somebody that's just lingering, they want to take their time, I don't kind of move in as quickly. I give them their space. I kind of just talk to them, let them know, hey, by the way, reminder, let's go. And then we have the spirits that just don't want to go because they're fear of judgment, rejection
Right,
on the
yes,
side.
religion,
So they take a
absolutely.
little
Yes,
longer to cross, which is
yes.
fine. But that's the work we do. The spirits help. So how can people find you, knowing that you provide all these different services for people, tarot readings and mediumship and ghost work and Reiki, all these wonderful modalities. How can people find you so that if they just loved your energy, they want to connect?
Right, so I am on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. The pages for the ghost group, I believe it's Spiritual Healers of Connecticut. Yeah, Spiritual Healers of Connecticut is the Instagram and the Facebook. So that's Spirit Healers of New England, or shown. If they want to find me for counseling, Michelle Pellin LPC, I believe, is the site, or spiritual therapy, I believe it was what that's under, that tagline. But my website is www.counselingservicesct.com. That's going to be hopefully revamped soon, but for now, that's another way you can find me. And my TikTok is growing. And that's also Spiritual Therapy CT. And I have another page that is dedicated to my tarot, and it's called Readings by Leah, Leaha. And I do a 3-card pull every single morning for free. And that page is growing as well. People are just so excited about getting that start for the day of where do I need to go and what direction do I need to go in. And I'm happy to provide that service. So, and I am available to do readings. And yeah, please, if you have any ghost work in Connecticut or very close to the border, please reach out to us. There's no judgment. We love what we do. We absolutely love what we do. So I would love to hear from you. Please reach out.
And please feel free to reach out to me. I'm in New Hampshire, only a few states away. And if you guys have a really interesting case, I'd love to join just to say, hey, let's have some fun together. Well, it's not fun helping, spirits because that's healing, but it is fun to work together as a team and be able to share all our unique gifts together. And that's what
It
we
really
do.
is.
All a team. And I 110% support all rescue mediums, all energy clearers in the world because I feel this is such a unique gift and it's so needed in the world today. So I'm so honored to have you here to share your experiences with us. And I'm really, really looking forward to working with you in the future, hearing more about your adventures, and love to have you on again in the future if you're interested.
Absolutely. Thank you, Amy. This was wonderful.
Thank you. Well, thank you all of you for joining us today. And I think it's been a wonderful, wonderful interview. Please feel free to reach out to Michelle or myself if you have any questions about any situations happening in your home that are just a little unexplained. See you next time. Thank you.